bigger. This man might be more athletic. I won't disrespect Kareem like that, but he's got all the ability that...
He's already 7'3". He's going to be the tallest player on the floor most nights.
Victor is not done adding to his bag just yet.
The San Antonio Spurs plan for Victor Wembanyama just gets crazier and crazier. That's supplemented by this man's training regimen. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. And comment on my latest reel on Instagram what console you would like NBA 2K24 for. We're gonna pick some people at random later on today or tomorrow. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. A huge smile to my face. Bam, 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 bam. You guys are making bank on Prize Picks. I absolutely love it. Week 1 was a huge success for a lot of you guys. And we're gonna keep it going, man. Each and every day, I post my picks for free on my Instagram story at TheFlightMike. And we're gonna feature the best slips on this channel each and every week. So submit them to me via Instagram DMs if you want to be featured. And if you haven't started playing Prize Picks, you use my promo code microphone and they'll match your initial deposit when you sign up on Prize Picks. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you guys that don't know who Victor Wembanyama is, he is the greatest NBA prospect since LeBron James. As a matter of fact, my good friend AM Hoops once said that
18-year-old LeBron would have gone number 2 in a draft with 19-year-old Victor.
Honestly, I agree with them. Think about it. And this is nothing against LeBron. Coming out of the NBA draft during a time where teams were more likely to select a physically imposing player who was a bigger unicorn, the 6'9" small forward from Akron St. Vincent High School, or the 7'3" forward that seems to be able to make a shot from anywhere on the court. Now, again, we're talking about prospects here. I don't want you guys to take this as me essentially doing this.
This is the most highly anticipated player to ever enter. Maybe not only the greatest prospect in the NBA's history, maybe the greatest prospect in the history of team sports.
Well, let's be honest. It's very exciting to see Victor Wembanyama in the NBA. This is a prospect that we could get really excited about, and I don't think we've been this excited about a prospect entering the NBA since Zion Williamson. And although there is a brand new NBA prospect that is the greatest NBA prospect since LeBron James, once every 2 to 3 years, we all could agree that Victor Wembanyama is indeed a unicorn. He is so good and so exciting that the San Antonio Spurs quite literally planned their entire year around not only tanking for Wemby, but making sure that they had the proper assets allocated to build around Wemby. If you remember last summer, the San Antonio Spurs traded DeJounte Murray to the Atlanta Hawks for Danilo Gallinari, 3 first-round picks, and a pick swap. And by doing this, they 1, tanked the entire season, but 2, were able to shed salary and add enough assets to make sure they have flexibility to make trades for players around Victor Wembanyama and to add role players around Victor Wembanyama on relatively cheap contracts. But even furthermore, there was a training facility that the San Antonio Spurs just happened to have completed. And bear in mind, training facilities take many years to conclude, but they had a world-class facility that just opened a month ago that took about 2 years to build. And by the way, it looks absolutely beautiful, and they're expected to officially conclude the development of this property in January of 2025. So far, the practice facility is open, but this is clearly ushering in a brand new era of San Antonio Spurs basketball. Whenever you get a brand new franchise cornerstone, there's the question about how are you going to build around him? How are you going to utilize him? What point of emphasis are you going to place in terms of his development? There are successful examples of this. My favorite example of this being Kawhi Leonard. San Antonio Spurs traded for Kawhi Leonard on draft day, but understood that there was a hitch in his jump shot. They hired a jump shooting guru to help develop Kawhi as a shooter, and then once Kawhi Leonard became a dominant superstar, he left the San Antonio Spurs. A good example of doing this unsuccessfully would probably be Ben Simmons, a player that was just a three-pointer away from greatness, still hasn't developed a three-point jumper. By this point, you get my point. The San Antonio Spurs have one of the most transcendent prospects in NBA history, and how they decide to utilize him is going to be a huge storyline moving forward. Number one concern about Victor Wembanyama has been whether or not he's going to get injured. He already has a fairly significant injury history, like a stress fracture in his fibula on December of 2020, a fractured finger in December of 2021, a bone contusion in his shoulder on December of 2021, a psoas injury in June of 2022, and now there's of course this one statistic where players that are on average over 7'2" tend to suffer major injuries in the NBA at some point or another. Now, this is a generalization that the San Antonio Spurs are motivated to combat. In addition to that, there is the question of what the San Antonio Spurs intend to do to make sure that Victor Wembanyama is playing to his fullest potential. How are you building around a 7'3" forward? Do you play him at the center position? Do you play him at small forward? Well, we have an answer to that. According to Shams Charania, the Spurs are planning to start Victor Wembanyama at the power forward position. Expect him to play power forward, the 4 position, to start off his NBA career. And the Spurs will look for Zach Collins to be a guy to provide size next to Victor Wembanyama in the front court. I think Zach Collins is an awesome player. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NBA. And I really like the fit of Zach Collins next to Victor Wembanyama. I just think it's funny because Zach Collins is shorter than Victor Wembanyama, but Collins has the ability to space the floor. He shot 37% from 3 last year, although he did attempt like 2 3-pointers a game. You're talking about a guy that played about 23 minutes a game. Honestly, he was a favorite of mine when I had to make picks in prize picks last year, but he's always been a positive VORP type player with a high PER. So I support this idea. I think the fact that they're claiming that he's going to play the 4 position is to trick some people, because I don't think I've ever seen a moment in NBA history where the power forward was like 4 inches taller than the center in the starting lineup. But even furthermore, how are we going to ensure that Victor Wembanyama doesn't get injured? This is something that I personally am very concerned about. Well, there's a viral clip that went out on Victor Wembanyama that definitely caught a lot of our eyes. It's not the typical clip that you would see from any basketball player at all whatsoever, because usually basketball players will show themselves shooting in practice. I mean, okay, Ben Simmons will primarily show himself shooting in practice, and he'll show himself weightlifting. We've done many videos like this before. You don't ever see footage that is like this. This is insane. I mean, I can't even do some of the stuff that Wemby is doing here, including this position right here. I can't squat like that. This guy has like 1.5 feet on me, almost 1.5 feet on me. I'm 6 foot. 5'11" doesn't exist, okay? And I cannot squat all the way down to my heels the way this guy's doing, which is insane. Maybe it's because I have too much muscle in my hamstrings and quads. I mean, it could be that. But what I'm trying to say is the fact that he is able to achieve this is nuts. And it gets crazier. Victor Wembanyama's flexibility in this video will without a doubt make your jaw drop. He's able to touch his toes, and probably the craziest part of all to me is what he's about to do right here, which is straight up getting into the splits. I mean, all the way down to the splits. Look at how long he is. It's just mind-numbing, man. Just seeing this, like, I was not able to stop watching this footage over and over and over again. You don't see men of this height and this stature being this flexible, which I think is significant, by the way. I think flexibility is going to be the difference between him sustaining an early injury or him being able to be healthy throughout his career. He has the right amount of muscle on his frame as well. I think it's the perfect amount. I don't think it's too much where he weighs way too much and it could impede him on the basketball court, but I think it's enough so he could bang a little bit on the basketball court, at least for his rookie year. Bear in mind, I mean, we have to have our expectations right here. Wemby wasn't going to be able to put on a significant amount of muscle before his rookie season. His rookie season is probably going to be a measuring stick to see how much muscle he needs to put on in order to be successful in the NBA. And I think he's done a great job, at least for his rookie season. He's probably going to have to add more muscle onto his frame, but going into his first year, it's not like he is skinny like a stick. This is a 7'3" tall person who also has to make sure that he doesn't put too much stress on his knees. That has a little bit of an injury history. All in all, I think Wemby and the Spurs are planning this perfectly. And if there's an organization that I have a lot of faith in to make sure Wembanyama doesn't get injured early on, it's the San Antonio Spurs, who have extensive experience training transcendent talents like Tim Duncan and David Robinson. I think they did a great job of constructing his year 1 team. I mean, this team is loaded with assets. They're going into the season with Trey Jones, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sochan, Victor Wembanyama, Zach Collins, Seti Osman, Reggie Bullock. I think they just let go of campaign. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about the San Antonio Spurs and their management of Victor Wembanyama? Do you think their plan for him is terrifying or scary? Do you think they're doing the right thing? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.